Thank you for coming back. It's such a pleasure to spend time with you. First and foremost, who is familiar with SBE? Raise your hand. It's a company that over the course of the last 16 months has evolved pretty significantly with the acquisition of the Morgan's Hotel Group, with brands like the Delano and Mondrian that we've now growing around the world, and the acquisition of Umami Burger. And so today, as the head of Disruptive, I would like to share some highs and lows of the Umami Burger brand with you, as well as a little bit of an insight on the brand evolution of how you take a cult brand, or at least how we think we can take a cult brand to the next level by focusing on a couple of key pillars: people, product, and place. And it starts always, in my mind, with people. And if you think about it, it is at the cornerstone of the hospitality business. Disruptive, my group, represents about 120 venues over 12 different countries around the world, several thousand employees, over $500 million in sales. And at the end, it's really about the leaders that bring this hospitality experience to life every day, 24/7, in our nightlife venues, in our restaurants all over the world. This is a shot of our leaders and general managers that got together during our GM Summit just this past week that we celebrated together. A little bit about Umami Burger. Who's familiar with Umami as a brand? Raise your hand. Many people here in the room, which is terrific. Which is pretty remarkable considering that this was a brand that was created in 2009 by Adam Fleischman, our founder. And rather than me sharing what Umami is all about, I thought this clip would be really interesting.
Was that your intent in the beginning, that you're like, I'm going to find and achieve the gourmet burger?
No, it wasn't. I was trying to start a business around the flavor of umami that I was cooking a lot with and obsessed with, because umami is in every food. It's the mother of every cuisine. It's the, Japanese, they use soy sauce. In Vietnam, they use fish sauce. In other places, they use tomatoes and mushrooms, like in Italy. In France, they use veal stock, believe it or not. That's the original umami there.
Wow.
And it's in everything. It's in all their mother sauces and things. So I looked at American food and said, what are the two most popular foods? Pizza and burgers. What has the most umami? Oh, get pizza and burgers again. So I said, these are the two businesses I want to start. The reason I did the burger one first was because your home ovens don't get hot enough, so I wasn't able to make pizza at home. Mm-hmm. Though since then I figured out a way to do it, but it's better in a restaurant because their ovens are better.
Yeah.
So I just said, hey, I'll break out my cast iron pan and do it very like run and gun without any real plan.
How long did it take you to figure out a recipe that you felt good enough about?
It took like 5 minutes, but I was really, but that's the way it worked.
Okay.
It's all conceptual, so I had to think of the brand conceptually. It had to work, and then when I cooked the burger, I'd already figured out all those elements you mentioned, the Parmesan tomato. Because all I basically did was look up a Japanese website and looked up the 5 highest foods in umami, and those were the 5 highest foods: tomato, shiitake, and Parmesan. So I just threw those on there.
You Googled it.
I Googled it. It's actually umamiinfo.com. That was the site.
Wow.
I knew it.
First step to umamiinfo.com. That's incredible. So you do that. So were you able to set up the restaurant in 5 minutes too? This is going to be a really short conversation.
Yeah.
So if anyone or anyone can set up a highly successful cult brand in 5 minutes, let me know. We can talk after this presentation. So in 2009, it all started, and suddenly a cult brand was born. GQ named us Burger of the Year, and we had several more accolades amplified by great people that suddenly wanted to collaborate with us. And whether that was Cindy Crawford, who created this very, very delicious 11-layer burger that she loved to eat and share with the world, and as part of a charitable exercise and a charitable effort of our artist series, or as recent as just a couple of months ago, Jaden Smith, who speaks to a very, very broad set of millennials nowadays that are relevant to the brand and our associations with this this growing segment of the population. All of these folks truly wanted to be part of where Umami was going. So we were on a tear. And when you look at where we started in LA in 2009, started growing to Northern California, then to Chicago, then to New York, and then even to Japan. And so everything was great. Until suddenly we started to see some shifting trends. We started to see that some of our consumers, some of our guests were only coming once a year as opposed to on a regular occasion. We suddenly saw the Better Burger Wars kicking in, where several other brands started to proliferate and grow, not just in the US, but around the world. We saw some of our sales trends decline, and as a result of that, we actually had to close a couple of our restaurants that weren't meeting the thresholds that we're looking for. So that sort of paused us a little bit, and then we said, we've got to think about what is next. We started out as a cult brand. How do you take this brand in its next chapter to its rightful place? So we did a little bit of a deep dive with some research, both qualitative research through focus groups in downtown LA and quantitative research with over 1,000 consumers. And we found a couple of really basic things that you sort of expect. First and foremost, what really is driving people to come and choose their burger brands are what you would expect. Lots of table stakes, right? Great tasting food, quality ingredients, being affordable. So nothing new there. And frankly, as we heard earlier this morning, these are table stakes that you're not going to be able to compete on if you're going to be in this business and even Nolan mentioned that yesterday evening. You've got to really think about an experience and being able to execute against that experience. So we looked at that and said, for Umami, how are we faring against competitors? And on the left of the screen here, you see sort of all of the different need states of this consumer base. And we compared ourselves to a good number of our competitive targets to really understand how are we doing better, which is in orange, and therefore over-indexing against our competitors, and where do we still have room to grow? And the truth is that we as a brand could continue to fare better on executing on table stakes and really amplify and own and win the differentiation aspect. Because we realized that there were not that many players, even in the better burger category, that were executing on that well. So we said, you know, that's a great foundation for us to build and continue to grow this brand on now that we understand what's out there. So then we took it a little further and said, who are our segments? Who is truly our target audience? And so we took this entire data that we gathered and we started to chunk it into target segments, not based on just demo and psycho, but really looking at the need states. And we identified 4 segments, of which 2 were closer to who we already had a significant impact on already and a significant advantage over our competitors, which were the culinary adventurers. And the culinary adventurers are probably, like most of you, you're looking for that next experience, that next brand that is opening up that Jonathan Gold is talking about. And it's one of these notions that you're always looking for the latest and greatest thing. It's innovation that matters for this target segment. The second segment that we as Umami had a competitive advantage on was what we call the flavor cravers. And for the flavor cravers, it was all about the craveability in our food. That's really where at the end, when you hear Adam speak, he looked at all of the most craveable ingredients, sourced them, and really created this incredible product in 5 minutes. And so that was the foundation. So then we said, okay, now let's build our experience. Adam was always focused on the product. And if you speak with Adam, he will tell you that everything surrounding the product was not that significant in the back of his mind. He's a great visionary, wasn't really focused on the operations. And we would have the audience coming for the product. But over time, the experience needed to be evolved. And so we implemented a new approach that we call reverse thinking engineering. We partnered up with a group from Europe. And rather than taking the traditional approach where you take your product, you take your service, and then work all the way through your guest experience, we decided to do it the other way. And we started with what is the desired guest experience? What are the different factors that we need to put in place in order to get to ultimately the distinctive and unique environment that only Umami can provide to our target segments. So, as I mentioned, it's all about people. And we brought all of our general managers, all of our Umami team members together and started to work from the bottom up and built together this customer experience blueprint and defined a vision. And the vision is really simple. In urban centers around the globe, we aim to connect and inspire everyone with the fifth taste, making Umami Burger the #1 destination for the world's best burgers. That was important because the notion was we are going beyond the product in truly creating something that inspires and allows our guests to connect. We then expanded that thinking into refining our mission. We took the mission that Adam created with his team and took that to the next level. And here you'll notice the words that come to the forefront like craveability. It's all about those flavorful, fair elements that made Umami since day one such an aspirational and desirable experience and brand. Then we looked at the core values and refreshed the core values. And as you see here on these 5 values that I've outlined here, there's a couple that are, to me, stand out. The first one, always be bold. The truth is, there's many brands that say that they're bold. The reality is, how many of the brands that say that they're bold truly are? Secondly, new experiences enrich life. Everybody is looking for new experiences. But how many times do you actually walk into a restaurant and say, this is the most amazing experience I've ever had? And lastly, how can we innovate through creativity? And innovation is hard, particularly in an environment that is almost 24/7 like ours, where we are almost more focused on the process than we are on the creativity, and therefore sometimes forget that innovation goes beyond just technology and truly starts with what is it that we want people to feel in addition to have the most craveable food on earth. So this is the picture that I took with my phone as an outcome of this session, and you'll see that people are pretty excited. In fact, on the left, the guy that is truly on the left, that's our chief culinary officer. He was definitely the most excited of the bunch. But the power of this picture to me is the fact that rather than creating your mission, vision, and values in the corner office, I couldn't think of any other way to do it than to involve every single person that has anything to do with your brand, no matter what level they are, because now the team owns it. Good. So that was the first pillar on people. So that was a head start for us, which was important to bring everybody on board and get motivated. On to product. Who's tried the Impossible Burger here by Riz Vance? Several of you. The Impossible Burger is a plant-based burger. It's really a technology innovation that is truly remarkable. I highly recommend that you go and visit their 50,000 or 57,000 square foot location facility right outside of Oakland. And we partnered up with them middle of last year because we thought it might be an interesting complement to our lineup of burgers. We're known for innovation. And we thought that we would have some impact. The reality is that Impossible and our version of the Impossible Burger truly changed the complete trajectory of our business. We had seen some decline in sales, and as a result of the Impossible Burger, suddenly we found that there was this new segment of the market that were meat eaters that told us that they had heard of Impossible first and before they tried it. And 60% of those guests that actually came to Umami to have a burger came specifically to try the Impossible Burger version that we created. So we said, we have something here. We're seeing a pickup in sales. We're seeing new guests coming into a restaurant, a burger restaurant that is actually attracting new guests because of a plant-based option. Interesting. So we went to work. We had our Chief Culinary Officer, Martin, along with his team to create basically a lineup of plant-based offerings that will be launched nationwide over the course of the next couple of weeks. And we tested it. We started, as always, with our people first. We tested it in several of the locations and put it to work over the course of the last couple of months. And the results have been nothing short of astonishing. In fact, when you look at our sales curve over the course of the last 12 months, this is 12 months rolling, when you look at the casual dining industry and you look at the segment, our competitive segment, for the last 12 months, it had been relatively flat. We've been growing double-digit sales for the last 12 months. In some cases, like October, we saw a spike of 21% in sales. Now, I've been in the industry for a little bit, and whenever I see double-digit sales, you always think about, well, how do you continue to build on that month after month, day after day, night after night? So we knew we had something. So that was on the product side. So then we said the third pillar is all about place. So if we have the people element, and that's moving, and people are excited, our people truly are inspired about the direction, and you have a product that is now craveable and a lineup of innovation that is bringing people back into the door. Now, how do you take truly a burger restaurant and you leverage the equity of our parent company, SBE, which is known for lifestyle? So what if we would create a lifestyle hub that would provide a truly differentiating experience that is unique to the burger space? What if we would create a quick-serve derivative that would allow our multi-unit qualified franchise partners around the world to expand in a hub-and-spoke model and then build our off-premise business? And so we said, okay, let's take advantage of the SBE halo and look at some of the elements that truly make the SBE brand experiences so different, daring, original, genuine, memorable, theatrical. And then we said, okay, so if we take this whole notion of a lifestyle hub for Umami and we put that to play in a kit of parts where you have surprise in a sense of discovery, and you have an open kitchen that fosters trust, and you have a way to innovate with your partners like Impossible, what would that look like? I just received this video this morning. The team has been working on it nonstop for the last 72 hours, and you'll be the first ones to see it. Let's take a look. Nelson Mandela once said, everything seems impossible until it's done. We'll be opening our downtown LA, or reopening rather, our downtown LA location, to which all of you are invited to in the next couple of months. Join me in the evolution of Umami as a cult brand. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great conference.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lenny.